Okay, this is going to be a in-depth charge blade tutorial. You start in sword and shield mode, more mobile mode, guard, but you can also switch to axe mode, which is putting your sword and shield together. These attacks are going to be slower, but more powerful. Quickly swap between each of them. I'll start off with the basic sword attacks. You have triangle, triangle, triangle. Basic combo. You can also do triangle, circle, triangle, triangle. That gives you a little more movement. Holding circle gives you charge double slash. You can do a shield bash or shield thrust after any sword attack. Will come in handy later. You can also do circle after any triangle attack. Do this fade slash, good for like movement. Just any direction you hold, it'll go in that direction. Forward, backward. I'll quickly show axe mode. Have rising slash, overhead slash, triangle, triangle. And then after a triangle attack, you can hit a direction, go into that direction, and attack. I mostly use the forward slash like a lot. Like that's the most important one. Then also your circle attacks. You have a 4-hit combo. Okay. And then you just hit R2 to morph back in axe or sword and shield mode, which is also an attack. Yeah, the main mechanic of Charge Blade is charging your Phials, which is in the top left, those cylindrical looking things. Charge those to fill them. You need to do sword attacks, which you can do any sword attacks, but the fastest way is your charge attack. Triangle, circle, charge attack. That will give you red charge right away. That's the fastest way, but sometimes you can't always do that, but yeah. So now you hit guard and circle, right trigger circle. That will fill your Phials. Now you can put those Phials into your shield. And there's a couple ways to do that. You can continue to hold circle after you do right trigger circle. That will put them in your shield. But another thing to note is if you get yellow charge, this will only give you 3 Phials. So in like 90% of the scenarios you always want to get red, but there's times when yellow can work just fine. As you can see, that one Phial is like exploding because it's overcharged. So something they added in Wilds is you can overcharge Phials, which will actually add more time to the shield charge. So normally shield charge lasts 2 minutes, or about 2 minutes. With overcharge Phials, it'll last 3 minutes 20 seconds, so minute 20 longer. Pretty good. I'll show another way. Charge shield, like that. Triangle, triangle, circle, right trigger. You can also do that move after a guard. Just guard, triangle, circle, right trigger. Now that our shields charge, our blocks are stronger, which means we just get less knockback. Normally you'd get like flung back. And also, if you perfect guard, it will do some Phial damage. So it did like 10 damage there. And the cool thing is, with impact Phials, you can actually KO monsters with perfect guards. Pretty fun. As you can see too, it's actually building file charge for us. So now that we have our field charged, we want to get our files again, because now our axe attacks do more damage, and plus it'll spend one of those files to do a little explosion right there. It does 80 and then 20 is that explosion. It spends one of those files. You see how it spends all our files, which kind of sucks, but get Savage Axe mode. Now your attacks don't spend file. So Savage Axe mode is very strong. It hits an extra 4 times, I believe. Yeah. Does 4 ticks of damage, including your... Well, that's not including the initial hit and the file explosion. You get Savage Axe. You can do it after a perfect guard. Just hit triangle, puts you in Savage Axe mode. Or you can get Savage Axe mode from doing a focus strike, which is holding L2 and R1 on these glowing parts. And it'll just automatically do this animation. Now you're in Savage Axe mode. Savage Axe mode lasts 120 seconds to 2 minutes. That timer will reset anytime you get Savage Axe again. Handy. I'm just gonna say this now, like, to me, this mandatory skill, it's called Load Shells, which I have on Discharge Blade. Load Shells level 2. What this does is gives you double the amount of files. So I have red. So I put them in, it's automatically overcharged. That's really big. That basically skips having to do that whole combo twice. You can still work around not using it, but I'd recommend it for sure. Charge my sword or shield. Speaking of charging sword, putting files in your shield, then holding triangle will charge your sword. And now your sword do extra ticks file damage. There's some monsters that might be too fast, too difficult to hit with axe mode. It can be a safer way to do sword attacks and with doing extra damage. And it can actually do KO damage like that with the impact files. So sword charge lasts a minute 30. I'll be honest, sword charge is like not super mandatory, and I be honest, like I don't use it that often. Every charge blade main kind of agrees that sword mode needs a buff. Charge sword needs a buff. It takes forever to set up. Like, this animation takes way too long. It's still useful. But anyway. Okay, now that we have Savage Axe mode in our files, when you're using Savage Axe mode, you actually have to hold your inputs. Which means you have to like hold circle to get those extra hits. If I just hit circle, I only hit once. But you can also hold triangle if you want, or you can actually hold right trigger as well. But I don't really like holding right trigger, see, because I do that by accident. So I don't know. If you like it, you can use it, but I don't like using it. I just hold circle 90% of the time. And now, go over the super amped elemental discharge, which is your big attack. It expends all your files, but it's fun to use. This is SAED. You can triangle, triangle, circle, triangle, circle, triangle, circle. Also, another way to get SAED is just triangle, circle, triangle, when you're in axe mode. Another way you can do SAED, after a guard or a perfect guard, a triangle, circle, and it'll go right into SAED. And a lot of time that is going to be your main way. It can be good after a roar, or if you just know that it's like a big attack, the monster's gonna stand there for a second. Good way to do it. Also, I just want to show after a guard, instead of doing an SAED, you can actually cancel it by holding back and just do a regular amped elemental discharge. Which is literally just your triangle circle when you're in axe mode. Same thing. It's useful for it's a little bit faster. It's not all in for as like a SAED. You can also do a SAED after circle combo. You can do 3 circle combo and then triangle circle. Or you can actually do all 4 if you have the time. And then triangle circle. Thing to note is use focus mode to really aim your SAED. Literally do a 1/8. That's helpful. It's good for wake ups, the monster's sleeping, whatnot. Also, another thing I want to note: a good way to go in axe mode really quick. If you have like some charge, like I have yellow right now, you do the R2 circle and then hit circle. Do that first circle attack in axe mode really quickly. Like, it's my go-to. Yeah, and some other small things. But ever get like far away from a monster, like it backs up or something, or gets knocked over, I really like to do the forward triangle and then circle, because you move forward twice there. Just it covers a lot of ground. Then you can go into circle combo. Either do this, do your SAED, kill Alma. Like I said, you can charge your Phials with a lot of different attacks, but sometimes I like doing this combo a lot. Hold circle. Oh yeah, and if you overcharge your Phials, it'll just start bouncing off. Sword charge will actually prevent that bouncing off. There's another positive. Even like hard surfaces, it won't bounce off. There's like some monsters, it's actually really useful. As you can see too, that third attack actually spends a Phial. Actually, it's only spend half a Phial. Keep that in mind. Also, your fourth attack and half a Phial. Okay. Another thing I want to go over is guard points. So in Wilds, they're actually not as useful as they were in the old games, but guard points are essentially when during your attack, shield is out in front of you, and it's guarding, so they just call that a guard point. Your shield will actually glow white. So after your round slash is a guard point. The most common one that was always used is the right trigger triangle. The beginning of that move is a guard point. And also morphing back to sword mode, guard point. That's actually, I use that quite a bit. And also the new way you charge your shield. That like gold circle, that's a guard point. Guard points, the thing is, just not as good as they used to be. Well, they're still fine, they're still good, but for some reason it won't trigger a perfect guard. I don't know. I almost feel like it's just not intentional. Like it's bugged. See, like, I feel like I was. Yeah, I only guarded there. I didn't actually do the guard point. That was definitely too early, but yeah, they're still useful. They have their use cases. But I'm pretty sure it's faster. Like right there, after I do a charge slash to do triangle circle. It's a faster way to guard. If I do charge slash and then hold, yeah, like you can see, after I do a charge slash and try to hold guard, it's a bit slower. It takes a bit for the shield to come up. So I've used this a bit. Yeah, if a monster's gonna attack you after this charge slash, triangle circle is your fastest way to block. Alright, we'll try to time it with this. Yeah, you can kind of see there, like it's useful. I think you just don't have time. Try to do normal guard. Yeah, I kind of got hit there. I mean, I could have done it late. Yeah. The most common one I use is the morph out of attack. It's just like a safe way to get back into sword mode. Like if I know a big attack is gonna come, gonna just morph out, and then I can hold guard too. And some other guard points. I think it's only one other one is after your fade slash, the end of the attack, you get a guard point. Another interesting thing is if you're in focus mode, anytime you hit circle, you'll do the fade slash. Well, for your first attack. It's kind of interesting. I honestly don't use this enough, and I feel like I should. Good for closing a lot of distance. Because I think it's more distance than just the regular triangle circle. Quickly, I just want to go over elemental Phials. What we were using was impact Phials, so those do just raw damage and KO damage. So they can knock out monsters, basically. But elemental Phials, which I'm switched to now, they do elemental damage, which can be like fire, water, ice, thunder. They don't do any KO damage, but you're getting the benefit of like the extra elemental. If a monster's weak to it, it's gonna do a lot of damage. So it works. Everything works the same, except yeah, you're just not getting the KO. And also with impact Phials, they actually ignore, like it doesn't matter where the Phials hit, they will always do the same damage. But with elemental Phials, it does matter, like on their head, it depends on the monster, but like for example on their head, it will do more damage than on their tail Phials themselves. Yeah, and the SAED goes out in a cone shape instead of a straight line. There's something to note. I also like elemental attacks look really cool. They're always fun to use. Also, when you charge your sword, will start doing more elemental damage. do a lot of elemental damage in Savage Act. So yeah, elemental can be very strong. Just quick note, you can look at monster field guide, see what a monster's weak to. In this second tab here, it'll say like Chatacabra's, he's weakest to thunder. He has 2 stars there. And you see like his head 2 stars, but his 4 legs are 1 star. And now I just want to go over skills like that are best for Charge Blade, and some might say mandatory. Guard is kind of a comfy skill. At least 1 level is always nice, but basically guard will make it so you take less knockback damage. Sometimes monsters have strong attacks. Even with like 1 level of guard, you'll still get some knockback. So if you have 3 levels, you get a lot less knockback. Then you have artillery, which artillery is only gonna work with impact Phials. It does not work with elemental Phials. It only boosts. Okay, and I think the mandatory skill, for me at least, is load shells. Level 2. Increases the Phial reloading speed, which I think means, so like this animation, I think it speeds up that animation. That's what I think load shells does. And obviously the biggest benefit is it gives you double amount of Phials. Like that's why I think it's mandatory, or I highly recommend it. And like I really like artillery with impact Phials. It's fun to do more damage. Another skill that's pretty nice is power prolonger. Now with 3 levels of this, it will make like all your shield charge, your sword charge, your savage axe, they'll make them last longer. Like examples like shield charge, it's 1 minute and 20 seconds longer. Sword charge is about 40 seconds longer. Savage axe is about 45 seconds longer. So like if you can slot it in, or like your charge blade just has it, it's nice. Now focus. This says it increases your fill rate for gauges. I always thought it's not that good. Like it might save you from like 1 hit with a sword, but I don't think it's worth it. I never use it, but you can try it out. There's also rapid morph. It makes kind of a difference. It will make you morph into axe mode a little faster. But like, I don't think it's worth it for the cost. For 3 levels. To see like any difference. I don't really recommend it, but I'm sure by like DLC endgame, it's gonna be like, we can have it. I think that's it. And then obviously, if you're using elemental Phials, any kind of elemental up will increase those Phial damage and like all your other attacks. Oh, and there's also guard up, which it's another comfy skill. So it just reduces your damage taken, because you will take some tick damage if you're just holding block. So yeah, it's a comfy skill. I don't think it's mandatory at all, but oh wait, did I go over? I don't think I went over offensive guard. I really like this skill. Just whenever you block at the last second, whenever you get a perfect guard, it activates the offensive guard, which gives you just a straight percentage damage bonus for about, I want to say it's like 20 or 30 seconds. So yeah, it is really good. And also, while this is a bit different, armor skills are kind of completely separate from weapon skills now, so you can kind of just go with whatever armor skills you want. Right now, I'm just kind of going with a weakness exploit. I like Adrenaline Rush, even though it's probably not that good with Charge Blade, because I'm mostly going to be blocking instead of rolling attacks, but I just like it because it's fun. I do actually recommend Quick Sheath, at least a couple levels, because Charge Blade has like one of the slowest sheathing animations, and it can be kind of annoying. To recap quickly, get your Phial charge, put in your shield, get Phials again, Fill your Phials, and then get Savage Act. Now you're set to go. Like, that's like the combo you want to do in like perfect scenarios. It doesn't always work out like that, but. And you can also get Savage Axe, the weak point, but also get it from mounting. Do a mount finisher. You do clashes, which you can trigger a clash with a perfect guard with a monster, and that it'll just be the same thing, just hit triangle after. That covers everything. Yeah, thanks for watching. Have a good one.